idea. Let's jump right into it. So, in general, when I sit down and talk to people who are entrepreneurs, they really make 2 or 3 rookie mistakes here. I'm going to really share mainly with you 2 big rookie mistakes that people make when they're trying to think through how to make money with your business. Because at the end of the day, that's what your business model is for, right? So the 2 big rookie mistakes that people make, number 1, you have a danger zone business model. Maybe you haven't heard of this before. I'm going to break down for you what in the world a danger zone business model is so that you don't run directly into the danger zone. And number 2, the other rookie mistake I see people make is they haven't done their business model math. Those are the 2 rookie mistakes. They're in a danger business model or they haven't done their business model math. And we're going to talk about all of that today and how you can make sure you don't run into that. Now, as we're going today, if you have questions, throw them into the chat. There's a lot of people here. I won't be able to answer everyone's questions, but later on in this session, I will tell you how you can talk one-on-one with me or in a group and actually get your specific questions answered. But as you come up, jot them down in the chat, throw them in there, and I will be able to kind of address some of them. Cool? All right. So let's jump right into it. Rookie mistake number 1, you have a danger zone business model. I see this happen all the time. And the challenge is that people don't even know that the idea they have in their head or the business that they've started, they're working on, is in the danger zone. So most people don't think about this. They come up with an idea they think is going to be successful, and they get trapped in a business model that isn't actually what they wanted for themselves. So question for you guys in the chat, throw your answer in here. Ready? I need to have everybody get their fingers on the keyboard because I want to hear everybody's answers for this. What kind of business model are you thinking about? I'll give you some multiple choice. It's not a trick question. I'll give you some multiple choice here. So first option, transaction fees. Transaction fees is kind of like the Uber business model, right? So you get in the car, you pay them $10, and in exchange, Uber actually makes a percentage of that. They give some of it to the driver, and they take a percentage of the $10. So they're making money by taking a fee off of every transaction you do. That's a transaction fee business model. Anybody working on transaction fee business models, commission business models are a lot like transaction fee business models. Okay. Another example is a low price point subscription. So anything that's like a monthly subscription, it could be an annual subscription too, or quarterly, but it's under $49 a month. That's a low subscription. A high subscription is really similar, but kind of $50 a month and above. Who's thinking about those low subscription or high subscription? Type in the chat and let me know what you're thinking about there. Okay, another option for you is a low one-time or annual fee. So they only pay it once or they only pay it once a year. And that's anything that's kind of below $599 for the whole year, right? That's a kind of a low one-time annual fee or a high one-time annual fee, $600 and above. You're doing a big license to a big business, for example, and you're going to charge them $2,000 for the year or $10,000 for the year. That's a high one-time kind of annual fee. And then finally, there's an option. This is kind of combines a couple different options here, but free plus ads. So you're not going to charge people to use it up front, to use whatever your experience is that you're creating. And you're going to make money later on by having ads, right? That's another business model. Free on its own is not a business model because you're not making any money. But some people have plans to later on monetize with advertising later. So let me look in the chat. I see Emily, free plus ads, Ian, high annual fee plus transactions. Kelly, low subscription. Chantel, low transaction fees. Got it. Thanks so much for sharing these. This really kind of helps me get a sense of what you guys are all working on as well. Aisha, low subscription, saw that. Got it. Mark, combo. Freemium is, so if somebody asked about a freemium business model, that's where it's free to use for most people. And then you have a higher fee. So it is right. It's a kind of a combination of these. Depends on how you structure your higher fee. So it could be your higher fee could be, Stephen, a subscription, right? Or it could be a one-time fee. I'm not really sure what you're going to upgrade them into. But for Stephen, for you, if you're thinking about freemium, you want to kind of think about the higher tier, the actual tier where your people are paying you. That's your business model. The free part is kind of less. It's kind of a drag and something to get them into the higher model where they pay you. Cool. Okay. So these are most of the business models that you will see out there online, right? But some of these business models are what we call danger zone business models. And I want to tell you what a danger zone business model is in the first place. So these models in the red are danger zone business models. I'll tell you why in a second, but I just want to tell you up front what the danger zone business models are. Transaction fees, low subscriptions, one-time fees that are kind of for the full year, but that are below that $5.99 mark, and the free plus ads. Those are danger zone business models, and I want to tell you why. This is stuff that for some reason I really wish when I was starting out as an entrepreneur, someone had told this to me and broken this down for me. So I'm going to break this down for you. Danger zone business models, transaction fees. The reason transaction fees are in the danger zone is because you have to do a lot of transactions in order for it to work. If you're going to take 3% or 10% of all the money that someone gives you or kind of flows through your company, you have to do a lot of transactions in order for you to actually bring home a lot of money, right? So that's why it's a danger zone. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. There are lots of businesses who do this, but it's dangerous because it requires scale and it can only work when it's big. Does that make sense? So for example, if you take, a percentage of a $10 transaction and you do 20 transactions, you still haven't made that much money, right? So that's why it's a danger zone. Low subscriptions, very similar. You have to get a lot of people paying you 99 cents. You have to get a lot of people paying you $10 in order to pay your rent, in order to pay your bills, in order to hire other people, right? That's a whole nother salary. That's a lot of $10 transactions to get you there. Also, one-time sort of low fees under $500 and free plus ads. Ads require you to have a large audience base. So if you want to make money from ads, you go to a company and you say, hey, we have this big, huge audience, and you should pay us for access to our big, huge audience. But here's the thing. When you start your business, you don't have a big, huge audience yet. Right? So there's no reason for them to pay you for ads until way down the road, maybe a couple of years when you've built your audience. However, you've got to pay the bills in between now and when you get to that audience. And so that's why it's a danger zone model. You often need to put a lot of your own money into the business, or you have to get investors to give you a lot of money in order for these to work. So I just want to highlight what the danger zone business models are and why they're in the danger zone. We'll talk a little bit more about that too. Yolanda, I'm glad this is helpful. Okay, so safe zone models, high subscriptions. Again, anywhere where you're going into a premium business model. And what I really want to do today is get you guys thinking about ways that you can take your business idea and make it more of a premium experience. And I'll tell you exactly why as we get more into this, but you want to build something that can be successful when it's big and when it's small. Specifically, you want to build a business model where people are going to pay you $50 a month or $600 a year or the equivalent of. I know you guys all have different business models, so if you kind of do the math and play it out, that's where you want to be. And the reason you want to be there is because when you have 10 customers, you are just as good as when you have 1 million, right? You're still making some money from it. So that's rookie mistake number one. People often that I see have danger zone business models and they don't even know that they are in the danger zone at all. They have no clue. And so I wanted to point that out to you. It's something that I really wish starting out as an entrepreneur that people had explained to me. And so I really wanted to outline that for you guys. Okay, great. That is rookie mistake number one. You ready for number two? Is this helpful? By the way, throw in the chat if this is helpful for you guys to sort of think through and see in terms of business models and what you're thinking about. Michelle said yes. Okay, good. Good. So glad. Awesome. Okay, great. All right, let's carry on then. So rookie mistake number two that I see people make is that they aren't doing business model math. They're just kind of coming up with what they think is going to work, and they haven't done some simple crunching of numbers. Now, you do not have to be a math genius to do this. In fact, as we do this, if you want to get out your calculator on your phone or wherever you use it, that's fine. We're going to do some very, very simple math. We're just going to divide two numbers. It's not going to be that scary, right? But let's jump into this. So there's really a 3-part formula. And this 3-part formula looks like this for your math. 1, how much money do you need to make in order for this to feel worth your time full time? Let me hear you guys' answers to this. Throw into the chat, how much money do you need to make? You can give me a monthly number or an annual number, however you think of it, doesn't matter. But how much money do you need to make in order for this to feel worth your time full time? Throw in the chat. I'm going to see you guys' answers here. Throw some numbers at me. $5,000 a month, $95K a year, $100K a year. Yeah, $75K a year. Cool. Yeah, got it. And when you're doing these numbers, by the way, don't undercut yourself. So don't go like, oh, well, I would be kind of miserable, but I could make it work. Like, you should build your business model for what is going to make you comfortable, not for what's going to make you eating ramen, right? So a lot of people set this by their own annual salary, and they say, I want to just, get to what I make in my 9-to-5 job, and then I feel comfortable, right? That's a good way that a lot of people do it, right? Ramen is in now. No, I'm all about you guys making money with your businesses and not eating ramen. Well, you can eat ramen, but have other options too, right? Okay, good. So how much money do you need to make full time? Cool, got that. So have that number in your head. Everybody have that number in your head? Everybody's got that number? Cool. All right. Then how much money are you going to charge your customers? So you guys told me your business model a little bit earlier, but what are you thinking about charging them? 99 cents or $500 or $20 a month? What are you thinking about charging them? Throw that into the chat too. What are you thinking about charging your customers? 150 a month, I see. What else? Let me hear some more what you guys are thinking about charging. $25 a month, but now I'm rethinking. That's okay. Just take what you have currently. $25 a month, $12 a month, 2% fee. Got it. $12 a month. Pay per use. Okay. 6 cents per click. Got it. 125 monthly, $50 a month, $100 a month, $10 a month. Okay, we've got a good range here. $1,200 a year. Got it. So get that number in your head, even if you're not totally sure. A lot of people get stuck here, right? $9 for the app. Got it. Even if you're not totally sure, just pick a best guess for you. It'll really help you. And you can change it later. It's okay to change it later. All right. Everybody got that number in your head too? Okay, good. So the way you do the division is going to be ever so slightly different depending on if you're doing a monthly subscription or an annual, but you want to divide those two numbers. So if you are going to charge people $1,000 a year and you want to make, $100,000, you divide $100,000 divided by 1,000, right? That's how you do that quick math. And I'm going to go through some math examples, but you just divide those two numbers that you just gave me to figure out how many customers you need in order for this to work. And when I say work, I mean just hit your minimum salary. So we're not talking about hiring people yet. We're not talking about having additional extra tech stuff that you pay for because there will be some other business costs. We're not talking about any of that, just the basics. So I'll give you an example. If you want to make $150K, and you have 3 founders on your team, so 3 people need to make $150K, you take that 150 and divide it by 3, right? So if you have multiple founders, multiple people building your company, you have to take that into consideration too. And let's say that you have the plan to charge $10 a month, right? $10 a month. So you're going to take those numbers and kind of divide them into each other, and you're going to need kind of 15K customers in order to get there, in order to just get to your minimum needs, right? You may have to do that multiple times over multiple founders as well. So this is in the danger zone, right? This is a danger zone business model. And I want to show you why. The danger zone is where you need more than 100 customers each year to hit your basic lifestyle goals, right? More than 100. meaning that anything under 100, you're broke, right? That's the danger zone. And it doesn't mean that you won't scale into a big, huge company. It just means that there's a reality that in between now and you getting to be a big, huge company, we don't want you to be completely broke, right? So that's what the danger zone is, when you need more than 100 customers to hit your basic lifestyle goals. The safe zone is when you need less than 100 customers to hit your basic lifestyle goals. So really what you want to do, and I just want to pause here and really make sure you guys understand this, is you want to build a business that can be successful when it's big and when it's small. Build a business that can be successful when it's big and when it's small. Avoid business models that only work with scale or don't allow you to create a lifestyle that you want. Only work with scale. And somebody asked a really good question. They said, if your product is an app, how do you ask for $600 a year per user? Like, how do you do that? Here's the tough thing about apps, guys. People think that apps are free. They really do. They don't know how much work it takes to put something, put a ton of work into a technology product, and they think that apps equal free. When people think about apps, they think about free app in the App Store. Unfortunately for all of us, that is what they think about. So what you want to do, and I'm going to actually kind of fast forward a little bit and come back to answer that question, is you want to build a business that happens to have an app, not an app that happens to have a business. That is the key to making money with your app idea. Build a business that happens to have an app, not an app that happens to have a business. I'm going to come back to this and explain that a little bit in more detail, but I just want to do a couple more math examples for people and then we'll move on. Okay, so another example, let's say you want to make 70K, right? And you are going to charge people this is a one-time fee, and it's $800, right? You're going to need about 88 customers every year in order to make that work. That's in the safe zone. You need less than 100 customers. You can go out and do some marketing. It's still going to be a lot of work to get those 88 customers, don't get me wrong, but it's something that's doable and manageable. And while it'll work when you're small, when you only have 80 customers. It'll also work when you have 1 million customers, right? Another example, you want to make 100K and you're going to charge 10K one time. So maybe you're going to do an enterprise product, right? You're going to charge a big company. You need 10 customers a year. Great and nice in the safe zone, right? Does this make sense how we're kind of roughly doing this? You can also think about your transaction fees. So if you want to make 100K a year and you're going to charge a 5% fee and you think that the average transaction is going to be $50, right? You think the average transaction will be $50 and you'll just take, 5% of it. You're going to need 40K transactions. Somebody asked, why is 100 the magic number? It's not necessarily a magic number. It's just for any of you guys who have ever done marketing for a real thing where you're getting money in exchange for it. It is a lot of work to get 100 people to give you money, 100 strangers to give you money for something. So that's kind of a place where above 100, you're really kind of starting to see a little bit of scale. You figured out how to do this systematically. If you can get more than 100 people to give you $50, you're really in a good spot. Under 100, you're kind of asking your friends, your family, and so things change right about that point. Cool. So this is kind of what the math looks like if you're doing a transaction business model. Right, exactly. So Mark was saying this does not take into account the cost to run your business, right? So actually, for some of you guys who are like, well, I can get by with less, when I ask you like how much money do you need to make, you have to note that you also have business expenses. So this is just rough math to get you a sense of what you should be doing and kind of how you should build your business model. There are going to be other expenses in your business. That's a really good point, Mark, and I should make that clear, right? There are other expenses in your business other than what you get paid. Right. All right. So that's rookie mistake number 2. You're not doing the quick dividing the two numbers business model math, and you haven't thought through, well, what does this look like when I'm big and what does this look like when I'm small? If you have a 99-cent app idea or product idea, whatever it is, I really think that you're thinking too small. You can be thinking bigger. You can be solving bigger problems for your customers where they're willing to pay for more. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have an idea for a travel app. Right? You want to build an app that helps people when they're traveling around, find places to go, etc. And you think that it makes sense to make that a free app in the App Store or to make that a 99-cent app. After all, you look in the App Store and you see that there are lots of other travel apps that are free for people to download, right? But I want you to do this activity for a second. Imagine for one moment, I know this is crazy, but imagine for one moment that there are no apps. Apps don't exist in the world. Just like imagine that for a second. And someone called you and said, hey, I am getting ready to go on a trip and I need some help figuring out where I'm going to go and all that good stuff. Can you help me? So imagine that you have to manually help them. How much would you charge them? Many of you would charge them far more than 99 cents for you to plan out their trip and do all that experience, right? It would be much more than 99 cents if you had to manually do the work. So a good activity for you to do, particularly for those of you who are kind of stuck on this, wait a minute, I'm building an app, I'm building technology, it has to be free or it has to be cheap. This is the key to you. Build a business that happens to have an app, not an app that happens to have a business. So if you build a website, a site that helps people plan end-to-end their trips and their excursions, and it just happens to come with an app, people all of a sudden take away that perception they have of apps being cheap or apps being free, and all of a sudden now it's something that's worth them paying, and they also just happen to get an app after they become a paying customer. That positioning is very nuanced, it's relatively small, but it makes a big difference in people's willingness to pay for your technology products. Cool. So get clear on the problem you're solving. If you have a low price point or you have one of those danger zone business models, get really clear on the problem you're solving for people. What's that thing they're complaining about that you're solving for them? And then make sure that that's a problem people are willing to pay somewhere around $50 a month or $600 a year for. Again, these numbers I've gotten from just working with hundreds of entrepreneurs. These are usually the benchmarks for people. Consider what kind of businesses could use your idea. Many of you guys have ideas for businesses where you're going to sell directly to customers, but consider what kinds of businesses might also be interested as well. If you are bootstrapping, you can get a large contract from a big business. It is much more lucrative for you than if you do 100 or 1,000 small individual consumers, right? So think about what businesses could use your idea. And I'm not talking about ads. So I'm not talking about what kind of businesses would like to advertise on your website or your app. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about them paying you money to either have your logo ripped off of the product and their logo slapped on, or to have a service through the app or through the technology from you. Also, you think about all those things together, think about how you add value to your customer. If you're really clear on the problem you're solving for them, you can add additional things. You can see that they have this one problem. They also have surrounding problems as well. And if you can solve multiple of those problems, then you start to enter the place where people are willing to pay more money for what you're selling and what you're offering. And that is how you kind of think about, structure, do the math for, and do the work of getting out of the danger zone. So I know a lot of you